If you are biking to work this morning, you can now legally go through stop signs and red lights in Colorado if you have the right of way. Governor Polis just signed that bill yesterday. It's for people 16 and older unless the child is with an adult. This also applies to people on e-bikes, scooters, skateboards, and wheelchairs.
Erica, thanks. A woman in Greeley is facing charges now after her husband died of a suspected fentanyl overdose.
Police believe she may have been the dealer. The Weld County Drug Task Force says it found counterfeit pills in Amy Conradson's home. Her husband Cody died 3 weeks ago. He was found unresponsive in a bathroom. Arrest documents say Amy knew the pills had fentanyl. She's also being charged as a special offender because her home is close to a school. And it's cases like this one why so many people are waiting to see what happens with that fentanyl bill going through the state legislature right now.
Yeah, it would create harder punishment for people who are caught dealing or possessing fentanyl. But with some of the amendments they added to the bill, prosecutors say convicting someone could be a challenge. 9 News reporter Darius Johnson is following the story. Darius, the degree of punishment comes down to whether prosecutors think that person knew that fentanyl was in their drug.
Gary, as this bill moves to the Appropriations Committee, some district attorneys believe prosecutors will face challenges in court attempting to prove someone had knowledge that they possess fentanyl. But the hope with this amended bill is it won't punish those who thought they were taking something else, like in many cases you've heard recently, including Commerce City. Now, for the past 2 days, lawmakers debated on this bill and heard 13 hours of raw testimony from loved ones. This bipartisan bill is meant to tighten penalties for those dealing fentanyl, but also provides education and resources for treatment. Some Republicans believe the proposed amendment wouldn't do anything. However, Democrats disagreed, passing the amendment making it a felony to possess more than a gram of a substance that contains fentanyl. That's if the person knew or reasonably knew fentanyl was present. The director of the Colorado District Attorney's Council says this is meant to protect those who are poisoned, not the dealers who know they are causing harm to others.
If the intent is to protect those who didn't know what they were buying, it will certainly meet that intent. If another intent was to make sure that we actually prosecute those who kind of knowingly have fentanyl, that's a little harder unless they give us some information when they're arrested.
Now, easily speaking to that mixture right there was another amendment passed yesterday that would make it a felony to possess a mixture that contains at least 60% of fentanyl. However, right now, the state does not have the resources to test that yet, but they are still trying to pass this law once technology becomes available, Gary.
All right. Yeah, it's got a ways to go before it becomes law, but it's a little confusing as it is now. All right, Darius, thank you. Colorado State Patrol says fentanyl is showing up in impaired drivers now. They are training this week on how to catch those drivers and others who might be driving when they shouldn't. The training teaches officers to recognize the signs of overdose and impairment. They are taught to check blood pressure, pulse, body temperature, helping them figure out what might be causing the impairment based on how the body reacts to different drugs. Colorado is the 3rd state to sign up for this training.
The man suspected in the New York subway shooting will face federal terror charges. Police arrested Frank R. James yesterday. Sources tell NBC that James called a tip line on himself, but police have not confirmed that. He is accused of shooting 10 people on a subway train in Brooklyn. They are all expected to survive.
A Wheat Ridge police officer is still recovering after getting stabbed yesterday morning. Wheat Ridge police tweeted this picture of Officer Alan Fisher. They say it's from last Halloween when he gave an inspiring recruit a tour of the police department. They say that he had surgery for his stab wounds and is in good spirits today with his family. Officer Fisher was responding to a call of a suspicious vehicle in an RV park yesterday morning. It was around 44th Avenue in Kipling. Police say the suspect, Andre Jones, was driving a reported stolen U-Haul truck. Police took him into custody after he stabbed the officer.
A bill creating more protections for sex workers is heading to Governor Polis's desk. The safe reporting law would protect people from prostitution charges when they call police to report serious crimes like murder, sex assault, kidnapping, and stalking. Supporters of the bill describe sex workers as, quote, easy targets who are specifically chosen by criminals because they are less likely to go to police.
Boulder County health leaders say the soil in the Marshall burn area is not a significant health risk. The health department tested 26 spots around the area. They found that for the most part, the soil did not absorb the metal and asbestos that burned in the fire. 2 spots were above normal levels, but Boulder County doesn't think the fire caused those.
Masks will still be required on public transportation for at least 2 more weeks. It was supposed to end next Monday, but the CDC extended it, saying some states are seeing an increase in COVID cases. We talked to a Southwest flight attendant based here in Denver who says she's ready for the mandate to be over.
Now it's just, I don't want to get my teeth knocked out. I have been verbally cussed at. I have been threatened to be hit over the head by a suitcase for telling somebody to please put their mask on.
The CDC wants to use the extra time to assess BA.2. It's a subvariant of COVID.
And one thing you want to know about the weather today, going to be a bit warmer, getting into the 50s to near 60 degrees. Maybe a sprinkle this afternoon, still going to be breezy. Tomorrow, even warmer into the 60s. Still, chance for an afternoon shower and breezy conditions.
And a heads up if you're traveling into the high country, we've got active chain attraction laws along I-70 between Silverthorne and Georgetown, between Copper Mountain and Vail, and Loveland Pass is closed between I-70 and Montezuma Road.